welcome to Tom Myers versus the rest of the world. A lot's been going on. We're recording this episode just before Donald Trump is scheduled to address Congress tonight in the first such speech in his second term. Of course, I'm obligated to say this episode was recorded before Trump canceled the speech and instead gave it in an underground bunker at Mar-a-Lago while wearing a Hannibal Lecter mask made of gold. That should help in the edit. Of course, as is customary, one cabinet member will be chosen not to attend the speech and will be the designated survivor in the event of a mass casualty situation, to which said cabinet member will respond by saying, "Why should I have to be the one to survive this shit?" It's fitting that Trump's first address to Congress in his second term takes place on Mardi Gras, when most Americans will be commemorating the occasion accordingly. Drinking, puking on the street, and sleeping it off in an alley. Basically, they'll be practicing for the economic impacts of Trump's second term. We're now seeing things pick up from the first Trump term, which he concluded by breathing out toxic fumes from his bout with coronavirus just before the election, to being sworn in this term and saying, okay, now that I'm back in power, how can I even be more deadly and contagious? Donald Trump this week announced he was placing tariffs on products from Canada, Mexico, and China. Of course, by the time this episode drops, he may have pulled out of the executive order faster than he wished. He had pulled out when his daughter Tiffany was conceived. Ooh. And if you're listening to that and groaning, don't. He all but admitted that. Trump also signed an executive order designating English as the official language of the United States. This will affect a lot of people living in this country who don't have a strong grasp of the language. For example, Donald Trump himself. Yeah. Despite a lot of the cuts to various government contracts, taxpayer-funded programs, and social services, Trump still has a small but loyal base of support, according to the various polling organizations. Let's just hope they're all as loyal as Ashley Babbitt. And on that cheerful note, on with the show. Please join me in welcoming Chipp Jones, Polite Kitty, Alyson, Chadwick, and Tru Nguyen.
Hey, Tom.
Welcome to the show, everyone. Tru, welcome to your debut on this little house of horrors here that I've managed to construct over these last few seasons. Thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me here, Tom.
Yeah. Do you feel optimistic so far about what's going on? I mean, you can be honest. We're all friends here.
I mean, I don't know if it matters anymore at this point. You know, I mean, the reality hasn't changed for some people, and some people it's going to be a lot worse, and some people are going to get a big dookie surprise. Mm-hmm. But I think there's a fair number of us who are like, duh, we've been sitting in this for a while. It's not a big surprise.
Right.
Oh, I just dampened that. Good thing.
Way to bring down the room, Tru.
That's why they call me Tru Nguyen.
Starting to cry.
This was such a happy show before.
That's right.
This was such a happy show before. I don't know what happened. We were all so optimistic.
You're welcome,
before.
Tom. I got you back.
You're going to fit in very well.
Yeah.
So what's everyone else been up to this week?
Cat videos. Copious amounts of cat videos.
There you go.
It's the only way to sell food right now. As Tru put it, with the dookie surprise, I've now got to sit in the dookie surprise that was not created by me.
What's sad is that now I have to Google dookie surprise now. Like that's what generation am I supposed to be in?
I don't know.
Come on, Tom, you're Gen X, right?
Check.
The best generation.
May not be trademarked yet. You better grab it.
Ooh. In a new Quinnipiac poll, 9% of Americans say they trust Russian President Vladimir Putin. By that measure, the nearly 40% of them who don't trust Putin but trust Donald Trump also enjoy having their genitals tased by a dominatrix, only to have it filmed for one of those snuff video websites. The view of the 9% are certainly represented by the views expressed by Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance in this tense Oval Office exchange with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky.
He broke this ceasefire. He killed our people, and he didn't exchange prisoners. We signed the exchange of prisoners, but he didn't do it. What kind of diplomacy, JD, you are speaking about? What do you mean?
I'm talking about the kind of diplomacy that's going to end the destruction of your country.
Yes, but if you
Mr. President, with respect, I think it's disrespectful for you to come into the Oval Office and try to litigate this in front of the American media. Right now, you guys are going around and forcing conscripts to the front lines because you have manpower problems. You should be thanking the president for trying to bring an end to this conflict.
Have you ever been to Ukraine that you say what problems we have?
I have been to.
Come once.
I've actually watched and seen the stories, and I know what happens is you bring people, you bring them on a propaganda tour, Mr. President. Do you disagree that you've had problems bringing people into your military? And do you think that it's respectful to come to the Oval Office of the United States of America and attack the administration that is trying to prevent the destruction of your country?
A lot of questions. Let's start from the beginning.
Sure.
First of all, during the war, everybody has problems, even you, but you have nice ocean and don't feel now, but you will feel it in the future. God bless.
You don't know that.
God bless. God bless. You will not have a war.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because you're in no position to dictate that.
That's
Remember
exactly
this. You're in no position to dictate what we're going to feel. We're going to feel very good.
You will feel influence.
We're going to feel very good and very strong.
You will feel influence.
You're right now not in a very good position. You've allowed yourself to be in a very bad position, and he happens to be right about it.
From the very beginning of the war.
You're not in a good position. You don't have the cards right now. With us, you start having
I'm not
cards.
playing cards.
But right now, you don't.
You're
playing cards.
Mr. President.
You're playing cards.
Serious.
You're gambling with the lives of
war.
millions of people. You're
You
gambling with World War III. You're gambling with World War III. And what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country. That's backed you far more than a lot of people said they should have.
Have you said thank you once? This entire meeting? No, in this entire meeting, have you said thank you? You went to Pennsylvania and campaigned for the opposition in October. Offer some words of appreciation for the United States of America and the president who's trying to save your country.
Please, you think that if you will speak very loudly about the war,
He's not speaking loudly. He's not speaking loudly. Your country's in big trouble.
Can I
Wait a minute. No. You've done a lot of talking. Your country is in big trouble.
I know.
You're not winning. You're not winning this. You have a damn good chance of coming out okay because of us.
Mr. President, we are staying in our country, staying strong from the very beginning of the war. We've been alone, and we are thankful. I said thanks
you haven't
in
been
this
alone.
cabinet,
you
and
haven't
not
been
only
alone.
in this cabinet.
We gave you, through this stupid president, $350 billion.
You voted
we gave
for
you
your
military equipment, and you men are brave, but they had to use our military.
What about
if you didn't have our military equipment, if you didn't have our military equipment, this war would have been over in 2 weeks.
In 3 days. I heard it from Putin. In 3 days. This is something
maybe
new.
Less.
In 2 weeks. Of course he has.
I wonder if Zelensky, if he practiced for his meeting with Trump by reading the comments section of a Facebook post, and then there's all these family members arguing with one another. To me, that's what that sounded like.
To me, it sounded like cats being run over by lawnmowers. It was that painful to me.
This, you know what drives me crazy about this is these guys are so ignorant of history. You know, when Trump starts saying you put yourself in a bad position, Ukraine is in this position because of the United States.
Yeah.
In 1993, Ukraine was the third largest nuclear power. They were only behind the U.S. and Russia, and the U.S. convinced them to join the Non-Proliferation Treaty, and they gave up all of their nuclear weapons. So over 17,000 intercontinental ballistic missiles, even more in tactical nukes. And we promised them, along with some economic compensation, we promised them independence and sovereignty, that we would assure them of independence and sovereignty. And Trump acts like, oh, we are such the benefactors, out of the goodness of our heart. We promised them that. That was the deal. So this is not charity. This is living up to our commitment.
But Trump
But also, even
understand
more
that.
recently than that, I mean, they've signed agreements with Russia that they've blown off. So the idea that they don't want peace, Russia can get peace anytime. They can just go home.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, pull out. Nobody knows how to do that apparently, but pull out.
But the Trump he keeps lying about how much money we gave them, but he keeps acting as if that we have no skin in this game. We just came in to help you guys out. It's like, no, we're living up to our commitment.
He doesn't know anything about commitment.
He doesn't know anything about history. Is this thing?
History, commitment, the English language.
And Zelensky, to say that he didn't thank the United States at all. I mean, he thanked the United States more times. He said thank you more times than Dido did in that song.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And JD Vance, like, wow. It's just remember, just not too long ago, he was calling Trump America's Hitler.
Mm-hmm.
And now he's like his pit bull or his bitch.
Mm-hmm.
His pit bull bitch. I don't know.
Can I just, I'm going to go on the opposite side and say, was anybody else like a little excited and hoping that an actual fight would break out? I mean, I watched that clip like it was a Jerry Springer episode. I was just waiting.
There's an AI video that shows Zelensky knock Trump out.
Oh, man, see, this was needed.
It's really good.
I think it's funny that if you saw how Marco Rubio was reacting, because like I went to the doctor for my back this week and they showed me an x-ray where my spine is pretty much invisible. So I know what Marco Rubio feels like now.
Mm.
He doesn't have a spine.
You can now say you literally have the spine of Marco Rubio.
Mine might be stronger, but just a little bit.
I don't know. It's like battle of a different type of Hollywood. You know what I mean? Like they're both from entertainment backgrounds.
Yeah.
Like Zelensky.
Yeah, but Zelensky also has a law degree. He's not exactly.
Yeah. Right. Well, Trump has some business degree, I'm sure, right? Like if we're going to say things matter, like I'm just saying it's just we're talking as if facts matter. Like, do I need to remind people? It's like, I don't know. Like, we're assuming that we all live in the same reality here, And I don't even know if all of us are in the same reality. Never mind, different.
One of my favorite comments about that scene is that Zelensky was the only person in the room who wasn't wearing makeup. So that's how you know that it was all fictitious. I mean,
it was staged too. I mean, Are all of you comedians?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Allegedly,
we know a little bit about performance, right? We know about like, when someone's going in on a cue versus an actual real reaction to something, and that was a total freaking sketch of Rooney. Like that was planned. That was not. Come on, out of the blue. Oh, you owe us a thank. When have they were talking about anything about gratitude and thanklessness? That was like. I don't know. It's just like it is entertainment outside of just the embarrassment of what it's done to our image and seriousness on the world level. But like, I don't know. It's like I can't sink into the reality of what's actually happening. Like I, as a comedian, need to figure out why this is so hysterical to me instead of gutting myself, like pouring salt inside,
We're all there.
This show, it could go either way, to be fair. I mean,
see, I see the humor in it, but then for work, I deal with so much of the fallout in a negative way from what he's doing that it's hard for me to only see it as a humorous thing.
Right.
Oh, no, I'm not saying just, but I think sometimes you have to. I can't like be totally focused on all the fuckery that he's creating. We already know that's a strategy. It's like I pick one or two core issues that I know that I care and passion and can commit myself in different ways with. Versus like we're just getting sprayed with like, well, we're gonna take down children this week, people with disability, like just
So as the only comedian in the room, I wonder if Zelensky was thinking, man, these open micers, they're just Jesus.
Well, Tru brought up earlier.
They think they're comedians, right?
Yeah. He's like, come on, guys.
Well, Tru brought up earlier that I think Zelensky and Trump, I think, had entertainment backgrounds, but I think Zelensky was the only one of the two who was actually funny like intentionally.
Yeah, he's a professional comic. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he had some pretty successful TV shows in Ukraine.
Yeah.
Yeah. JD Vance is just the guy constantly open saying, when can I go up next? When am I next?
Right. No, he's the guy that constantly comes off stage. Oh, I killed, man. Did you
I'm headlining next.
You killed, it was a suicide.
That's right, I killed.
I don't know. JD Vance kind of looks like a Cheshire cat, you know what I mean? Like he's just this side puss for for Trump to stroke and draw attention.
Well, I think he must be jealous of Elon Musk because he gets so much attention. No one talks about JD at all. So now whenever he gets a chance, I'm gonna show I'm worth it. I'm more MAGA than Elon.
Well, that scares me even more. The fact that Vance can go ahead and work behind the scenes now, thanks to Elon.
Yeah, it's true because he's a lot scarier for a lot of ways.
I'm sure everyone else is calling him Vice President Light. I'm sure they're like,
he's like the presidential pet.
All the taste, less calories.
Oh God.
In an interview, Secretary of State Marco Rubio described Trump's version of a viable UN resolution as bad war needs to end. Let's bring the two sides together. I call bullshit, as Trump isn't that articulate. The other world leaders do not agree with Trump's rewriting of history, obviously, with regard to the Western support for Ukraine in their fight against Russia, as we can see in these two clips of Trump's meetings with Emmanuel Macron of France and Keir Starmer of the UK.
Just so you understand, Europe is loaning the money to Ukraine. They get their money back.
No, in fact, to be frank, we paid 60% of the total effort, and it was through, like the US, loans, guarantee, grants, and we provided real money. To be clear, we have 230 billion frozen assets in Europe, Russian assets, but this is not as a collateral of a loan because this is not our belonging. So they are frozen. If at the end of the day in the negotiation we will have with Russia, they're ready to give it to us, super. It will be loan at the end of the day and Russia will have paid for that.
If you believe that, it's okay with me. We want to work with him, President Zelensky, she said before. We want to work with him and we will work with him. I think the president and I actually have had a very good relationship. It maybe got a little bit testy because we wanted to have a little bit of what the European nations said. They get their money back by giving money. We don't get the money back. Biden made a deal. He put in $350 billion. And I thought it was a very unfair situation.
We're not getting all of ours. I mean, quite a bit of ours was gifted. It was given. There were some loans, but mainly it was gifted, actually.
And then people wonder why, the rest of the world thinks we're a bunch of ignorant assholes. I mean, that image right there is the perfect metaphor. And more than a metaphor, you can actually see it happen.
Yeah. I do want to say one last thing about Marco Rubio from being on that couch. You got to give him some credit for having the courage to sit on a couch next to JD Vance. I mean, we know JD couches he sits on.
JD's there to protect his lover. He doesn't want to leave Rubio alone with the couch. So
there you go. Yeah.
Ew.
Couch is mine, Marco.
But the thing that's diabolical is that constant lie wasn't $350 billion, and you want to think, okay, is he so stupid he can't remember his own lie, or he is the consummate showman. It's like even if it's a lie and it's wrong, if you repeat it over and over and over again, eventually some people are going to believe it.
Some people, at least 77 million people.
So this idea of the amount, that we gave it to him and everybody else is getting their money back, as long as he keeps drilling that over and over and over again, his base is going to believe it. And you see them, they post it on social media all the time. It's like, it's not true, guys. Just like all that money that, that Doge has saved, it's not real,
But we're going to get $5,000 back from Doge.
What?
Yeah.
Is anyone believing that?
No.
mean, I don't even think it matters that we're talking about money. Like, substitute money, dollars, whatever, for like kittens. You know what I mean? We could say like, oh yeah, we gave Ukraine 3.6 billion whatever kittens. It doesn't matter. Like, and France can be like, oh, we gifted a bunch of kittens. We didn't ask for anything in return for the kittens. You know, like we also gave kitty litter, and like that was on the house because we're like, we're helping adopt out here. We're worried about Ukraine. Well, the U.S. is like, oh, hell no, we want the investment back for whatever that we're abusing the animals over there anyways. Like, it doesn't matter. Dollars, kittens.
I think Teen Titans had it right. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, you're right. I mean, the currency could be bees for all I care. It was a gift. They've said it was a gift. For other countries, it was a gift. I don't understand the whole thing.
I mean, if you don't understand it, then definitely the rest of America is going to struggle with it. That's why I'm saying it's like not a tangible conversation about money. It's pretending to know that we're talking about money. People probably know better about talking about like adopting animals and using like kitties and puppies as currency to better understand that conversation.
That's true. Maybe we need to take it down to that.
But it's all about the lie. As long as he can give them a lie for them to believe in, they're eating the pets. Something that gives them the license to hate the other people. That we can hate Ukraine and we can no longer fund them, because we've already given them $350 billion. Allegedly. Yeah. So
and they think that Ukraine should have been invaded because they were doing terrible things. So it's nuts.
Yeah. So
and Putin was just protecting the Russian nationals who were. It's nonsense. It's just nonsense.
But it gives them the license to feel that way. He gives them the lie that gives them the license to feel, what they're doing is honorable when it's not.
After this is all over, anyone else still thinking about leaving the country and moving somewhere else?
I mean, I can't even move out of a different neighborhood.
Although I just read that the number of people applying for British citizenship has skyrocketed.
Oh yeah.
I reached out to Canada to see if it had skyrocketed there, but it has not yet. But they're keeping an eye on it.
I've got some. I guess I loosely call them fans, about 5 or 6 of them who actually have dual citizenship in Ireland, and they all like, hey, if you guys want to come over, we got room. So, but they all started working on their dual citizenship when Trump was doing well in the polls. They said we need an exit strategy, and so.
Right.
It used to be that the mainstream Republican Party was for a strong military defense for its allies who believed in having free elections and preserving a Western way of life. Going back to the previous generations, we have always stood up against authoritarians and one-party rule. However, with the complete takeover of Donald Trump, Republicans are now adopting a sudden shift in their foreign policy directives. As we can see in this clip,
delighted that you're here in the United States. We're encouraged about the show of support. We have committee chairs. We have the president. We're here today as a show of support.
Senator Wicker posted this picture of himself proudly shaking hands with President Zelensky, calling the meeting a huge step forward in securing mutual prosperity and peace for Americans and Ukrainians. This was today. And you know what happened next? Senator Wicker, profile and courage, appears to have just quietly deleted his post from this morning, praising Volodymyr Zelensky and showing himself shaking his hand.
I mean, it's a literal rewriting of history, what's going on, pretty much.
It is, yeah.
Oh, that's so surprising. The shock of it all.
I was going to say, did you hear
white cis men rewriting history of the United States? Oh. Shocking.
I'm shocked, stunned, and deeply saddened.
I also like the end of that clip. There's a little bit of a shadow of Lindsey Graham there. Lindsey Graham, who was the biggest advocate for Ukraine ever until this week, and suddenly, I still think the problem with Lindsey Graham these days is that they buried his backbone with John McCain. That's the problem.
No, but 2 weeks ago, he said that Zelensky was the diplomatic ally he'd looked for his whole life.
That's what I'm saying. I mean,
yeah, before
this week, Lindsey Graham was the cheerleader of Ukraine, out front of anybody else, banging the drum for the Ukraine. And in the matter of 1-2 days, he totally flipped. And like I said, he no longer has a backbone. It's in John McCain's coffin. I mean, that's it.
I think he was looking for a bigger bang.
Well, his nose is up. His nose is so far up Trump's butt. I'm barely breathe.
He's probably. I mean, seriously, everyone. Again, the therapist in the room. My therapist opinion is that everyone is showing jealousy. It is jealousy that Elon gets to suck Trump's dick and nobody else does.
And did you see SNL this week with Mike Myers as Elon?
Oh, no.
It's brilliant. And Elon Musk is like, that's not funny because it's not real. No, it's funny because it's exactly real. And I thought you were all about free speech and comedy, legalize it. Like, that was hilarious.
Yeah, that was
funny when you make fun of me.
We've mentioned before how a majority of the country does not trust Vladimir Putin. In fact, most of the country doesn't want to see Ukraine surrender to Russia if the polling data is to be believed. This could not be truer than the state of Vermont, as we can see in this cell phone video of residents of the Green Mountain State as they greet Vice President J.D. Vance as he arrives for a family vacation.
You sold us out to Putin! You're a bootlicker! Fuck you! Bootlicker! Go to hell! I hope conditions at Sugarbush suck tomorrow! Go to hell!
I mean, I thought they were pretty kind and generous and very hospitable given the situation.
Conditions at Sugar Hill are terrible tomorrow! Boo!
Oh, that's, my gosh. Ill wishes.
They're right. They were so kind, and her tone of voice was so sweet. She was like, "I hope you have a fucking terrible day."
When I said break a leg, I mean it. Break a leg.
We've taken some of the nicest, friendliest people and turned them super angry. Like Canada is I always thought as being super polite and nice, and now they're saying that. They've got signs all over Canada that say fuck Trump.
Well, even worse, if you see them booing kids singing the national anthem, it's like, who would think that Canadians would boo children? I mean, come on.
Yeah, everybody's changed. Like before Trump got into office, I was getting a lot of work as a clean Christian comedian.
What? You? Are you smoking anything right now? Is this a forgotten past, history that you've hid away? Oh my God. Who is this guy?
Yeah, and I come and do my work sober. Yeah, okay.
And on that note, that's our show. I want to thank my panel, Chipp Jones, Polite Kitty, Alyson, Chadwick, and Tru Nguyen.
Yay!
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you,
Tom. Thanks for having us.
This episode was written and hosted by Tom Myers with panelists Chipp Jones, Polite Kitty, Alyson Chadwick, and Tru Nguyen. Theme music composed and arranged by Jeroen van den Hurck. Executive producers Tom Myers, Aaron Duspiva for Oddly Funny Productions, Matt Connarton for ipmNation, and Eddie Carson for Odyssey Radio. Please leave a 5-star rating and a positive review on Apple Podcasts. And don't forget to subscribe to the Patreon, patreon.com/Tom Myers, for access to ad-free episodes, extended episodes, and bonus clips. And if you're listening to this on YouTube, hit the like button and subscribe to this channel. Thank you for listening, and please visit tommyers.us.